Okay, golden cockerel, good Tai Chi posture, dropping those shoulders, tucking your butt under, hollowing out your chest, chin slightly down, head erect, and good thoughts, tongue on your palate. We're at 50-50. We're thinking through what we're gonna do. We're gonna shift weight to the left, come up with the right hand and foot. Counterbalance with that left hand, sitting to the side. Right hand now. Shift the weight, center, concentrate 2 inches below your navel, which is a center of gravity called your dantian. As we do this, create spirals, create circles, semicircles, to soften not only your movements, but for better timing, better formation. Last set. Push down as you push up or bring up. Bring up as you push down. 50-50, gather the energy, shift the weight to the left. Right hand on the outside of the cross, kick out, right, follow with your eyes, follow with your hand. Left hand, left foot coming up, kick out, left. Shift weight to the left, right hand on the outside, right foot coming up, follow with your eyes, follow with your hand, while the other hand that goes to the back is a counterbalance hand to help you with stability. Last set. Right hand, right foot out. Left hand, left foot out. Okay, holding our ball on a T-step. So we know that this is a T-step. We know that we can't hold our ball or move in any Tai Chi movement unless we store the energy. So the right foot or back foot has to store almost all your energy, 90 to 99% of your energy, if not 100, to make the left foot an insubstantial foot. The left hand sits 2 inches below your navel. The right hand is at chest level, and you bring your elbows in to hold your ball nicely. Weighted on the back, right foot, the energy is stored so it can be dispersed. Watch how it is generated. Okay, you can do it with me. T stance. L stance, the heel goes out. Now the energy is generated through your leg, through your system, through your chest, out through the tips of your finger. Bow stance, part the wild horse's mane. Knee not beyond the toes. Back right foot is an arrow. However, the knee joints are not locked. They're still needing to be relaxed for energy flow efficiently. We sit down and we sit back on that imaginary stool. We pivot. We need balance, so what are we going to do? We're going to hold our ball and center ourselves and bring that right foot in to form a T. Capital letter T, come out on an L, move the energy through our system, bottom hand advances to part the wild horse's mane, as if you were serving someone a snack in front of you. The snack is in the palm of your hand. Sit back, sit down. Pivot, root down or drill down on that right to store the energy as you form your ball on a T stance. Bring that ball or elbows in. Think through. After a T stance, you're out on an L. You move that energy, turn the hips and waist, and you're in a bow stance as you part the wild horse's mane. After a bow stance, you need to sit down and sit back. Then you need to pivot. Then you need to center with a ball on a T stance. You need to step out on an L, and you're going to have to turn your hips and waist to get into a bow stance. Sit back, sit down, pivot, root down, T and ball, out on an L, turn the hips and waist, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, pivot, root down, T stance holding your ball. Let's go over cloud hands, okay? I'll take it slowly. Take an L, bottom hand or right hand advances to go up the horse's mane. Here begins cloud hands. You stay in a bow stance, you flip the hand so that the right hand, you can no longer see the palm. And at the same time, you join it with the left hand where the palm can be, you can see it. You're in a bow stance. Sit back, sit down. When you pivot to the 12 o'clock, the right hand is in a cup position, 2 inches below your navel, and your left hand has a stem, addressing 12 o'clock, stem and cup. We want to get out to the 9 o'clock, so what do? We use the heel of our left foot and we pivot out. We get to the 9 o'clock, but at 9 o'clock at this point, 2 things happen. You flip the hands and you close the feet. Use your hips and waist to get to 12, which is a stem and a cup. Use your hips and waist to get to 3. 2 things happen. You flip the hands and you open the feet. 12 o'clock is a stem and a cup. 9 o'clock, only 1 thing happens. You flip the hands. You interchange the position of your hand. 12 o'clock is a stem cup. Use your hips and waist to get to 3. 2 things happen. Flip the hands, close the feet. Stem cup at 12. Use your hips and waist. 9 o'clock. 2 things happen. Open. Stem cup. This time at 3 o'clock, we only flip our hands. At 12 o'clock, we shift our weight to the left and we come up as a golden cockerel. Okay, push down, push up. Other side, shift weight to the right, up left, up. Down, kick out, shift weight to the left, right hand on the outside, right foot coming up, kick out, right. Shift weight to the right, left hand on the outside, left foot coming up, kick out, left. Then we learn something that is almost like parting of the wild horse's mane, but it's called grasping of the bird's tail, which is very different. There are 2 components. We're holding our ball, we're heading to the right. We're going to ward off our opponent by using the forearm of our right or bottom hand. We step out on an L, we turn our hips and waist, our right hand forearms our opponent to allow us to have some space, some privacy. We don't want him into this space. To grasp the bird's tail, you turn your hips and waist and you reposition your hands and you sit back, sit down, turn with your hips and waist to look back. Contact, but the flow of energy comes only through the middle of your body as you push it out. Separate your hands and roll back and sit down. Spiral up and then lunge forward. At this point, the knee is not beyond the toe and you are not going and following your hand because you will fall down. So you need to make sure that your dantian points are all lined up and your head is erect. And your shoulders are dropped. Sit back, sit down, pivot. Hold your ball as you drill down on the right. You're centering yourself, you're obeying gravity. We're going to ward off on the left. Step out with your heel, that's an L stance. Turn the hips and waist, bottom hand forearms your opponent. Left hand allows you to get that space that you need. We turn our hips and waist, we reposition your hands so that the left hand now is on the high, right hand is on the bottom where you can see the palm. what are you going to do? You're going to grasp the bird's tail. Sit down, sit back, look back. Contact at your wrists, but turn at the hips and waist, center of the body, push the energy through, separate the hands and roll back and sit down. Spiral up and lunge forward, making sure that you're in good Tai Chi posture. Head straight up, not favoring the front position to fall. Sit back, sit down, pivot with your left heel, pivot out with your right heel, pivot in with your right heel, cross your hands so that the right hand is inside of the cross, shift your right foot over, rotate on your wrist so that your both palms are now facing you at chest level. You're going to bring the tiger closer to you. You're going to push him away one last time. Separate the hands so the palms are downwards. Now, to close, you're going to drop your shoulders, tuck your elbow, flex your knees, let gravity take you down, wrap around, heel comes up with the left, off the ground, toe down, closing form. Okay? So, putting all the pieces together, let's take a look at repulsing of the monkey, okay? Repulsing of the monkey. What does repulsing of the monkey do? You're pushing the monkey away, and you're pretty much stable, but the stability comes when you're flexing your knees. You want to be grounded, you want to be rooted, because it's a martial arts exercise or intent. So if the monkey is in front of you, you're not going to stand up straight and you're not going to just push him like this and using only your hands. But what you're going to do is you want to firmly root down to be safe so that you can do justice to push him away. But you're going to have to center one hand and you're going to have to use your whole core and mind to meet him and then push him. And you have more force by pushing and pulling him back, pushing and pulling at the same time. You center, you glance at the upper hand that's higher, or the back hand. You bring that hand to your ear. You turn your neck. You meet the hands in the middle, and you push forward, pull back at the same time, okay, at the same distance. Then you wouldn't want to do this, right? You want to make sure that your head is straight up, push back like this, okay? So every time we do any Tai Chi, engage your core. So what's your core? Your core is the most important part of your body. It's central to your system. So if I felt that I needed to do a good repulsing of the monkey, I would already feel something that's contracting, expanding in the back here. Whereas if I did not, I would just use a flimsy motion to do a hand motion. And I wouldn't feel anything that's going on in my core. But that's not Tai Chi, okay? So Ken's standing here saying, don't forget now, when you do all this, this needs to be moved. Not to the point of moving this way, but moving and moving. It's flexing. It's helping us to use our core rather than be so stiff and just straight ahead. This guy is moving, okay? Just like cloud hands, but not to that extent, okay? I'm going to turn around this way and let's practice that, okay? So we said to have good Tai Chi posture in all movements, we need to root down, whether it's the back foot, because we want to create an insubstantial, or we want to create a more powerful stance. Everything has to be rooted. We have to obey gravity. We cannot do justice to that if we're standing straight up. If we're standing straight up, that means the heaviness of your feet are not as well established as you flex. So you see Tai Chi performers where they can go very low they're probably younger or have started Tai Chi at an earlier age. For ourselves, for me, I would practice a medium stance rather than a low stance, and I want to get away from a high stance. But eventually I'm going to have to adjust that level of playing Tai Chi. So once we establish this, our left hand is in the middle. Middle meaning the middle of our body rather than the side or to the side or across our body, across the midline. So about midway. And we also know that that arm, the elbow, is never extended out. Once it's extended out, the energy is locked. There's no flow of energy. So we want to extend it out, and then we want to retract it a little bit so that there's a nice relaxation. So that's in the middle of our body. The right hand is up higher, meaning it's not at the same level, but slightly higher, probably about eye level, without tipping your head. You're going to follow the back hand at a glance to your ear or near your head. You're going to turn your neck as you turn your hands. You're going to meet the hands in the middle. This is how we meet the hands in the middle. The left hand remains with a cup, and this guy comes in and is here, and we meet it right here. After we meet it, then the top hand pushes forward and the bottom hand pulls back, okay? So let's do that again. Left hand in the middle, right hand up higher, and you're glancing at the back hand. The shoulders now are not raised. The shoulders are dropped. Are your shoulders dropped? Bring the back hand to your ear. Turn your head and neck. Meet the hands in the center. Push the top hand forward as you bring the bottom hand back to your hip. The other side. You're going to leave that right hand there, and you're going to actually turn. As you turn to look at your left hand, the right hand, the palms are now up. As you glance at that back hand, it comes to the ear, using your core, turning your head and neck, meeting the hands in the middle, slide forward, slide back. Here's a drill. Center, higher, glance, ear, turn, meet, slide. Center, higher, open, glance, ear, turn, meet, slide. Center, higher, open, ear, turn, meet, slide. Center, higher, glance, ear, turn, meet, slide. Center, higher, glance, ear, turn, meet, slide. Center, higher, open, glance, ear, turn, meet, slide. After repulsing of the monkey, we're going to have to brush our knees. So how do we do that? We have to get into a T stance, so the feet takes a formation of a T. Our hands are now like this. The right hand is higher. The left hand is to your shoulder. We're still rooted down, because once you decide on the level in which you are going to play Tai Chi, you need to keep that there, okay? Now we're going to do brush knee. So what do we do with brush knee? We do three things. The top hand comes to the ear, while the left hand comes down. And then we step out with our left heel. Here we go, three things. Set it up correctly. Ear, hand, heel. Turn the hips and waist to brush your knee on a bow stance. So we adjusted the back or right foot to a 45 degree. Sit back, sit down, pivot, left hand higher as we root down, right hand to the shoulder, forming a T stance. We set it up correctly. We want to multitask to brush your knee. Ear, hand, heel, turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, right hand higher, left hand to your shoulder, T stance. Energy stored on the back or right foot, all together. Ear, hand, heel, turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, left hand higher, root down, T stance. All together. Ear, hand, heel, turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, right hand higher, left hand to your shoulder. What do? Top hand comes to the ear, left hand comes down, and you step out on an L stance, and you turn your hips and waist. Ear, hand, heel, turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, left hand higher, right hand to your shoulder, all together. Ear, hand, heel, turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, hold your ball on a T stance, and then keep your T stance and let me look at you, okay? I'm gonna turn around, you keep your formation, okay? Okay, very good, very, very good, okay. Okay, you can relax. So, think about the first day that you took Tai Chi class, and you think about what you're doing now. Yeah, it's a lot of progress, but there's always room for improvement, even for a seasoned 10-form student. There's always stuff to learn, okay? So we're each on our own journey. We take it as it comes, and we enjoy what we can do, and we build on what we have, okay? So brushing your knee is one of the hardest, and I would couple that with cloud hands. But we all have some experience, and we've already set a platform. So all we now need to do is work on it a little bit more and refine it. And enjoy it, of course, okay? Don't make it a chore or a burden, that it's something that's so hard that you can't do. But in the process of practicing, just enjoy it and laugh at yourself. Why not, you know? All right. So we can see some characteristics of Yang style. Yang style is not forceful, it's smooth, it's slow, not unlike other families or styles of Tai Chi that go very fast, okay? So it's slow. It uses a lot of roundedness, not just in the ball, but in the positioning of the hands. It's rounded, okay, rounded, spiraling. It's continuous. There's no break in any of your movements. So it may not appear that the person performing is stopping, but within the performer, you can feel, she or he can feel that there are more muscles that are being expanded, chest being opened, and just growing taller in certain positions. And there is a slight pause, but the energy is never abruptly stopped. And it's always spiraling and very serene. In the same tempo. In the same tempo, what I mean by that, it's never slow and then fast and forceful, but everything is in the same pace, same rhythm. But along that line, remember I was telling you when we started working on repulsing of the monkey, I said that we wanted to obey gravity. We were in a martial arts stance, and we needed to weight down. And so you took me very well. You understood what I said, and you said, well, I know what she means. I'm going to come down lower. But you know, if we're not in a good conditioning, this slowness, even for me, will catch up with me so that I would have to say, oh my goodness, I need a breather, and I change my stance. So that's not Tai Chi. So what we want to establish is a comfortable level in which we can play Tai Chi and keep that level there all the time. So if I choose this level, every time I move, I should be in the same level. If my level is high, which, you know, it's a little harder for me because I know that if I'm high this way and I say no one should be high this way, is because both feet are weighted. In order for you to establish a good routine and a practice, the foot that needs to move can never be weighted. If it's weighted and you move, that's when you're going to fall or stumble. But in doing that, when you establish your level, if you want to go to an extreme and exaggerate it, then of course that level has to be done throughout your movement, throughout the entire time. So you want to establish something that's comfortable. Okay, we don't want to see the bobbing of up and down, because that is not Tai Chi, okay? All right, so those are some things to kind of keep in mind, and as we practice and get more efficient, we can start to incorporate them, okay? All right, let's see now. We covered repulsing the monkey, we did cloud hands, we did parting of the horse's mane. Let's look again at grasping of the bird's tail and closing form, okay? All right, so we said that, and maybe even cloud hands. So we said that we needed to grasp the bird's tail, but before grasping of the bird's tail, we needed to ward off. We said that we can remember that if the right foot is insubstantial, the right hand has to be on the bottom because it's the advancing hand. It's the hand that's either going to go forward, high, or something, but it's the one that's going to take that lead, so to speak. So here we are, storing my energy, making this insubstantial, right, which is correct. I take an L stance. I ward off my opponent. Push him out. I'm not going to push him out, and you can see why. I will fall. He will push me down, right? Without any effort. So we want to establish our space right in here. Then we're going to turn our hips and waists, reposition our hands as if we have a grip on the bird's tail, if not our opponent, and we're going to sit down, sit back, turn at our hips and waists to look back, not too far back, contact with our wrists, turn again with our hips and waists, and push the energy through. Separate our hands and roll back and sit down, and spiral up and lunge forward. Sit back, sit down, twist step, T stance, holding our ball. We're going to take care of symmetry and go to the other side. We check ourselves. Left foot's ready to go. Left hand is on the bottom. Left, left. T stance. Out on an L. Turn the hips and waists. Bottom hand pushes out our opponent. Sets our space. We turn our hips and waists. Reposition our hands. We got a grip on him. Got a grip on the bird's tail. We sit down, sit back, weight on the back, therefore the front foot is on its heel. We contact at our wrists. The energy needs to be expended only from the middle of our body. Separate the hands and roll back and sit down. Spiral up and lunge forward. This is a drill. Sit back, sit down, pivot. Left foot, drill down, T stance, right foot ready to go, right hand on the bottom, holding your ball. Make sure your shoulders are down. If your shoulders are up, you don't have stability. Step out on the right heel, bottom hand advances to ward off, set that space that you need. Turn your hips and waists, reposition your hands, Bring down the bird's tail. Sit down. Sit back. Turn at the hips and waist to look back. Contact. Turn again. Middle of the body. Push the energy through. Separate the hands. Roll back. Sit down. Come up and lunge forward. Sit down, sit back. Twist step. Right hand on the top. Left hand on the bottom. Left foot on a T. Step out on an L. Bottom hand advances. Pushes out your opponent. Turn your hips and waist. Reposition the hands. Sit down. Look back, turn at the hips and waist. Contact. Turn again, push the energy through. Separate the hands and roll back and sit down. Spiral up and lunge forward. Okay, closing form now, okay? Listen and do. Sit back, sit down. Pivot with your left heel. The left hand drops slightly down. What are we gonna do? Pivot on the right heel, the right hand comes out because it's connected to our body. We want to close our feet, so we're going to have to pivot in with the right heel, right hand follows. We want stability, we want to embrace the tiger or cross hands. The right hand tucks inside of the cross of our left hand. So it's like this, right? But I'm coming down now. The palms are facing your body. This is called cross hands. We firm down on the left foot. We bring the right foot in, 50-50. We turn at our wrists, so now the palms are facing us as we elevate to our chest. Then we bring the tiger in closer. Then we push him out. Bringing him in closer gives us that force to then push him out. Separate the hands. How do we close? The hands go for the ride. How? You flex your knees. You drop your shoulders. Everything comes back home because gravity is pulling at you. Up with your heel of the left, off the ground, toe down, arch down, heel down, closing form. Okay? So your turn to watch, okay? So grasping of the bird's tail, I think is it this way? Yeah, I think it's this way, okay? Grasping of the bird's tail, L stance, bow stance. Turn my hips and waist, reposition my hands, sit down, sit back, look back, turn at my hips and waist, push the energy through, separate the hands, roll back and sit down. Spiral up and lunge forward. Sit back, sit down, twist step. Ball for better balance on a T, bring it in. Step out on an L. Turn my hips and waist, ward off my opponent. Turn my hips and waist, reposition my hands. Sit down, sit back, look back, contact, turn again, push from the center. Separate, roll back, sit down, spiral up, lunge forward. Sit back, sit down, twist, open, in, embrace, right hand on the inside, shift the weight over, rotate, bring him up to your chest, push him closer, push him away. Separate the energy. What do? I drop my shoulders, I flex my knees, I tuck my elbow. I let gravity take me down as I lift the heel off the ground, toe down, arch down, heel down. Closing form. So, yes, it's slow. Yes, it's relaxing. Yes, it's not easy. It's actually easier. It looks easy as you watch, but when you actually perform, it's pretty challenging. But once you overcome and you know the sequence, you know the ins and out of the movement, you are empowered. You feel that relaxation. You have it on, you feel on top of the world, and that's what we want to do. it's not that we're performing, but it's what we're feeling and what we can do with our whole body that invigorates us, okay? And not it's in a nice way to keep our health or improve our health.